Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls of all ages, welcome back to another very special episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty. This week, as you may have noticed, are not being brought to you by the dulcet tones of our normal Commander-in-Chief Easy, and instead we are bringing you another fantastical episode of Wyrm Talk. But don't worry, all you easy fanatics out there, as he will be joining our fantastic panel, which is also being joined this evening by Karma, our
It's
fantastic
me.
friend and longtime compatriot. And as well, we have our very special guest that is joining us this evening, which is Adam from Dragon's Greed Gaming.
Hello. My mom says I'm special too.
And we appreciate her for that, because without that encouragement, we wouldn't be here today. So, getting right into it, for those of you who haven't listened to the Wyrm Talk episodes before, we do things a little bit different, a little bit more casual here, as this is going to be more of a Q&A style show, where we are fielding cues from the lovely patrons for critical hits, who have random questions about all aspects of gaming, life, and everything in between. So I shall be presenting them to our panel in the order in which they feel like jumping in to field their answers. And if I got something I want to sprinkle in at the end there, well, I might just add some 2 cents and make it a full dollar. So, getting us started here this evening.
Oh, hang on. Before we jump in
Yes.
all the way, let's
Uh-huh.
give our special guest their opportunity to plug their stuff. Adam, take it away. Where can we listen to all of your great stuff?
Wherever you get fine podcasts. If you get shitty podcasts, you could probably find us there too. So, let's see. I don't know, Spotify, iTunes, whatever you got. We got some stuff on YouTube. That's about it. No Twitch or anything like that yet. I don't know if that's coming or not, but there's been talk about it from people that are not involved in creating it. So I have no clue. But recently, Chris has started. He's the main man over there at Dragon's Greed. He started doing some video content for their current Alien campaign, like the movie, the game. And let's see. I don't know. I'm doing right now. I'm playing Blades in the Dark with a bunch of guys over there. It's called Sins and Consequences. It's a blast. It's real weird, and I love it. I play a character who's got a lot of nipples. Let's see.
I was not expecting that.
Season. Yeah, nobody does. And like, especially when the character takes his shirt off and they're all there. There's like 32 of them.
Oh, all right.
But anyhow, yeah. So Pay Data first season's done, second season's written, and eventually we'll get around to recording it. And I'm working on another project. It has not started releasing yet, but it's called Shadowrun: The Worst of Us. Keep an eye out for that. It's got a bunch of people from a bunch of different podcasts and some fixer-filed episodes. I got a new one coming up on Sunday, recording with the magnificent Scott Schletz, prolific Shadowrun writer, as well as some people from shows like As the Sixth World Turns and Resting Glitchface, and myself and Aaron from Shadowrun Pay Data.
Nice. Hopefully we can reach out to these other wonderful Shadowrun individuals and get them on Wyrm Talk eventually. Big dreams. Those are my big dreams. But we'll see what happens. Thank you for being here tonight. Austin, I will turn it back over to you. Let's roll with these questions.
That is exactly why Easy is the professional, and I only come in for one episode every now and then, whenever needed to host for this fun time. So, getting us started with what I think would actually be kind of a fun introductory one here, which is, what would you say is your favorite tabletop RPG? And if you can, explain why you like it so much. Now, I'm going to put a caveat here, as is my rule, because I am master of Wyrm Talk, and so this is my domain. What is your favorite tabletop RPG that's not Shadowrun? Because I think that it kind of goes without saying that for probably at least a few people here, that's probably going to be the go-to answer. So outside of that, what is your favorite other system that you've played in? What did you enjoy about it? What makes it fun?
So what do I do?
Ooh.
Do I raise my hand? I don't know. 'Cause, like,
Yeah,
Who goes first?
Yeah, whoever.
Should we
wants-
do it in order?
Do we need
or-
buzzers? Maybe I
Do-
should
yeah.
get
Yeah,
buzzer.
how do we wanna
sorry,
do this?
sorry, we forgot to hand out the signs before the recording for this episode, so people can flash up when they're ready to just buzz in and answer. Okay, let's. You know what? We'll go ahead and do a rotation here. I got us covered.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Ah,
What would you say is your favorite tabletop system?
of course I get to go first.
I'm gonna mix up the order every time now, so
Oh, well,
everybody's
good.
got to stay on their toes. Got to stay on
I'm-
your toes.
I'm happy for that. All right. Best tabletop like system or best tabletop game?
It says
Those are two
favorite,
different things technically.
fair.
I'm
It
being
says
technical here.
favorite tabletop RPG.
Okay,
So
okay.
interpret that as you would. If it's your
Sure.
favorite because it's a system, what about the system do you like? If it's because of the game,
Okay.
what about the world building such and
All
such?
right, I've got it.
Okay.
My favorite tabletop role-playing game that I have both played in and run a very, very long-running campaign would be Dark Heresy.
oh, yes.
I loved Dark Heresy. I love the 40K universe. It's so grimdark. There's so much going on. So many different factions. You can get embroidered into like anything that you want. There's so much to do. I actually had a campaign that I ran with a group of friends that live around here with me for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was 6 years. Some people dropped in and out because they were only here for school, and then once they were done, they would leave. But the core group of about 3 or 4 players stayed the same through the whole time, and I blew their minds a couple times by making some callbacks to things that happened like way long ago. It was just super fun. I really like it. It's a pretty simple system. You only need 2d10s and that's it. You can play the whole game with that. And I always like that. Less dice that you have to have with you at all times means that you can play a little faster. I know some people probably don't like that. Some people love mountains of dice or are dice goblins or dice dragons, however you want to say it, and have hordes upon hordes of dice. I know that for a fact because my wife is a dice dragon. But yeah, Dark Heresy, very simple system, great story possibilities. Locking that in. That's my answer.
A solid answer and fun system for sure. Karma, what you got for us?
Okay, so here's the issue. I have
Oh.
played technically 3 tabletop RPGs my entire life. Shadowrun, which would be my answer, cannot be.
Disqualified.
Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, which is definitely not my answer. For reasons.
Process of elimination. You got one left.
Although I have recently, actually this Saturday, or no, it would have been Monday. We played a new tabletop RPG that is still in the works. The alpha got released. It's called Daggerheart. Critical Role is making them. It is Matt Mercer's tabletop.
I heard about this. Yeah.
I have not.
It's pretty fun.
It's supposed to be a lot more story driven. They made
Yes.
it so that the players have more agency in the game than the dungeon master having to make like literally everything.
Yeah, so it's a lot more based about just doing stuff on the fly, and there's like a kind of like a not really edge, but like there's a whole system with like dice rolling. It's like you get like they're called hope points, and you can use those points to do special things. Like at some point we ran into we did a one shot, we ran into this like scorpion flying demon beast whatever, and I used a hope point to pull out a raw steak from my backpack, and I used that as bait to lure it away. You know, it's kind of like plot points from Anarchy. Yeah.
Nice.
And they allow you to use special abilities and stuff like that. And there's a whole like roll mechanic with them. And then like combat is based around basically the players get to do as many actions as they want until they fell a roll. And once they fell a roll, then the DM gets to take the equivalent amount of actions. So if if the players go for 10
Ah.
like 10 actions, then they fail a roll, the DM then gets 10 turns for the monsters.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Intriguing.
so it's really it's pretty fun. There's definitely some issues with it, like the abilities are like they're not like really D&D ability. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it without taking up a long time, but I think it's worth looking into if you enjoy D&D but don't like D&D.
D&D too mainstream. Ugh.
Yeah, precisely.
It sounds cool. I
All right, Adam, what do you got for us?
Oh man. So here's the deal. First off, I got to ask a question here. Should I just like completely let people finish what they're saying before jumping in with crap that I want to say, or should I just be impulsive and like a maniac like normal?
I would say try to let people finish, but if not, we'll figure it out. It's whatever.
I just when you were like I'm already doing it. There it goes.
Oh no, that one was all me. I was just gonna say we are the king of the tangential podcast at this point.
Ooh,
So like to be
right,
honest, it kind of goes both ways. I think that if there's a major point, let's get through the major point, and then if you wanted to, and then if you got like a that's cool, I like it too. That sounds cool. Boom. Hit it. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I was gonna say Dark Heresy, dude. I
Mhm.
played the hell out of that for a while. That was awesome. It was an awesome game. The system is so. You said simple. I would use the word elegant to describe it.
Ooh, I like that.
It's
Yeah.
so like. It's easy to go. You know what? In this situation, this makes sense, and have it work very smoothly. It's man, I had so much fun playing that, and I completely forgot about it until just now.
And there was
But,
there was a second edition that had a very, very short run when it
Yeah.
was still under the Fantasy Flight license, and then I guess they lost it, or Games Workshop didn't allow them to renew. I don't
There's
know
a lot
the
of weird
whole-
stuff with Fantasy Flight.
Yeah, there really
Their
is.
RPG division's gone.
Yeah.
Which is sad because they had some good stuff.
Yeah, that's
I
where
like
Netrunner
Genesis.
came from
Genesis
too.
is cool.
Yeah,
dude.
Genesis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
It's all.
But-
It got picked back up by I think it's called Edge or something like that. Some other company.
Yes.
So it's still in production, kinda, just somewhere else.
It's in
Uh,
holding.
they actually released something for the 40K universe for role playing. If you guys are 40K role players and you want to play a tabletop RPG that is similar to Dark Heresy with rules that are even more streamlined, Imperium Maledictum.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Yeah, I got a PDF of that one.
Yeah, I do too.
So-
It's basically
Yeah.
Dark Heresy 3.0.
Yeah, man. Talk to Chris over at Dragon's Greed. He'll talk your ear off about Warhammer.
Oh, we
Um,
could have a discussion then.
Okay. So my favorite RPG that is not Shadowrun. It's a tough one. Right now I'm playing Blades in the Dark and I love it. It is so much fun. It's so creative and it's so like fast paced and story driven and dude, it is a blast. I love it. But if I had to pick one, oh God, that's tough. I really enjoyed Burning Wheel for fantasy stuff. If you guys are familiar with that, it's awesome. If you're not familiar with it, it's awesome. It's really there's a lot of subsystems available that you can use if you need to, or you can completely skip if you don't. Like if you want combat to be like, I attack the guy, okay, you succeed, you kill him. Or if you want it to be like a drawn out like technical duel, there's like a card based system you can play with it for fighting.
What's like
It's
the
all-
what would be like the elevator pitch overhead for Burning Wheel, like setting and stuff wise?
So it's kind of setting neutral, but it's low fantasy. The main thing about the game is it's intensely character driven. So you gain experience based off of your character, not like, oh, I fought this many guys. It's like my guy wants to dethrone the king. And if you're making progress towards what your goal is, that's how you get your experience. And it's also a fail forward thing. So if you start, fucking up failing tests, you get better at them.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost more like a milestone system than it is like an experience system.
Well, you gain experience with stuff too, but yeah, and the books are beautiful.
Mm.
I like it. I would probably say Burning Wheel.
I'm a sucker for a good supplement in regards to art. That gets me into a lot of board games that I end up
Oh,
picking up
dude,
because
yeah.
I just see a cover and I'm like, oh, that looks like it's probably pretty cool. So, good art goes a long way.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of very expensive beer because I like the art, and I'm like, this beer sucks.
100%. When my wife and I go to our local shop to pick up a bunch of craft stuff, we base it off of what is the type of beer and how cool is the label. Those are
Yeah.
always the two determiners for what you get. Yep. Cool. Well, just as a note on that as well, I will say that my favorite non-Shadowrun setting RPG system is Dungeons and Dragons 3.5. I will not be elaborating on that any further, and we will move on to the next question, which is going
can
to
I
be
force you to elaborate? What setting? What setting? What campaign setting?
well, so actually so 3.5 was the first tabletop RPG I ever played with my friends, and we always did homebrew. We never ended up
Homebrew
using
setting? Okay, cool.
yeah, we never ended up using modules for 3.5. We really didn't start doing that until we were playing 5th edition, just because it's a lot easier
That's how it is with
that system. Yeah, it's way more geared for that as well. And also I like that for 5th edition because it feels more like a sandbox to me. It's more like you get to jump in, you're playing in the setting, you don't have to worry as much about, all of the tertiary stuff. You kind of just get to go run on your adventure and have fun. But in 3.5, it was always good. I always enjoyed the nuances of that system, the fact that it was very much a you want to do that type of thing. Well, this is how you can do that and enjoy doing it and getting there. And their progress system, I think, was probably like the best balanced D&D's ever had for an experience and progression system on any of the formats that I've played, at least, which is pretty much 3rd edition onwards. Sorry, Thaco fans, I got nothing for you on that end.
Second edition.
I don't think
Oh
they can
God.
hear stuff anymore. I don't think the Thaco fans are gonna be able to find out how to download a podcast. If you are, good for you.
They think it still comes through on the fax machine. They're getting the printed out dialogue as we speak right now sent to them.
They're gonna look through their encyclopedias to find out how to get to it.
I met somebody this last weekend who told me genuinely that their favorite RPG system of all time was 2nd edition D&D, and I was just like,
2nd edition D&D was a banger, dude. That was my first tabletop game was 2nd edition AD&D way back, dude.
That was mine too.
Notice how you didn't say that it's your favorite RPG system.
Right. Look, I liked it. It's not my favorite.
I got nothing against it, but the fact that man was willing to die on his 2E hill, I was like, you know what? Respect. I admired the dedication.
I bet that guy's basing that opinion on the game that he played. Like he probably had a hell of a game back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's
sometimes that's all it takes.
Listen,
facts.
It's part of the reason why 3.5, I will say, part of the reason why 3.5 is my favorite version of D&D. I made a warrior dwarf. He used a great axe. I had Supreme Cleave, which is anytime you kill something, you get to make a 5-foot step and immediately do it again.
A step and chop. Yeah.
My DM,
fucking blender.
We were running through a dungeon one time, and my DM separated me from the rest of our party. I fell down a chute into a cavern that was filled with 85 goblins, and my DM said, "Good luck." And I killed
blender?
I killed 78 goblins before they got to take a turn.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
3.5, how I miss you and your crazy.
That is part of the reason why 3.5 is my favorite edition, and yeah, it's a good time.
That is a good time. I can agree.
The spike chain.
Oh yeah, spike chain. Spike chain was where that. You know what else? Rapier with Keen.
Stacked, gross.
Rapier with stacked Keen.
15 up.
15. Yeah. Let me crit on a 15 every time. Oh.
I had
different times.
The last campaign of 3.5 that we played, I had the samurai expansion book that came out for it.
Oh,
And so I made they had the Aiajutsu master, which is
Oh,
the
I knew that's where you were
yep,
going, dude.
yep.
I knew that's where you were going. Your
Bro.
initiative is like 46.
Yeah.
Slap some dudes in half.
and then
man.
you have a keen edge katana, so you're
Yep,
like, okay,
yep.
when I do my quick draw, which is a free attack action, I
Yeah.
crit on an 8. I guess we'll just see what happens. Like, good luck.
Roll to confirm. Instant dead. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
It was just a different time, you know.
Yep.
It was a different time.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so on to the next one we've got here for you. We have a question saying, which setting in Shadowrun outside of North America are you most interested in playing a run or campaign in, and why that setting? So, if you had to get away from the costs and all that fun stuff, where would you go?
Adam is ready.
Adam is
Adam's ready. Let's
anticipatedly
go.
raising his hand to answer first. Please, sir, take the floor.
Bogota.
Bogota.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, dude. The war with Amazonia and
yeah.
Aslan.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
There's so like
You say war, you mean genocide.
I mean, if they're fighting back, it counts as a war. I don't know. Let's not get into politics. Of this, 'cause I don't wanna-
okay.
That's treading a little too close to modern
mhm.
real life. So let's just Bogota. I think that would be a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunity in there for some high octane, action packed runs. And like the kind of shit where it's like stealth is optional, like dropping into a compound and like gunning down a bunch of adversaries and just kicking ass. I think that would be a lot of fun.
You're giving me real heavy Predator 1 vibes there.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I want the troll to come in with the high five to the other guy with the cyber arm and
It'd have to be a dwarf because that would be the best.
Yeah, the
getting the height
clasp.
advantage of the dwarf and the troll power. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, such an underrated movie.
That is interesting though, and like you said, you've got the corporate strife there, so you've got the other intent settings to be able to play with, and the corporate intrigue as much as you want it, but also just the craziness of like Central and South America insanity that's available to play with, which is a lot. So yeah, that's
just being able to get into like running it would be a blast. Being able to just put like the worst shit from as technology just in the forefront. Like here it is, like these guys are like there are vampires and they're doing blood magic to you right now. Publicly. Like they don't give a shit.
Who's gonna stop them in the jungle?
Right.
Like they're just like, here it is. This is what we do. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Solid. That is solid. I like it. Karma, what have you got for us, buddy? Where is the next season of Dreckstorm taking place?
Okay.
Hot scoop, dropping the spoiler right
scoop.
now.
Hell. They just go straight down.
That's all the way.
Oh, you're doing Bogota too? That's crazy.
I think there's two places I've really wanted to do. And like for a full-fledged campaign, I think Japan would be cool. That's because I'm a weeb and I like anime. So like that's pretty much my only reasoning is Japan is cool.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I love your reasoning.
There's a lot of cool stuff in Sixth World Japan too.
Yeah,
so.
there is racism, my favorite.
A lot of it. Very, very good racism. A lot of racism.
I think a really fun area that I would like to put my players in is the Scottish irradiated zone. I think that would be fun. Gross. I would love to do something in there. Gross. That's about it. That's my answers.
You just want to drop players into mystical Chernobyl and say, "Good luck, have fun."
I mean, it sounds cool.
mystical
super
Chernobyl.
Weird. Yes.
Easy, I can see, as our listeners won't be able to, that you've dipped into a book here to answer
Yeah, it
this
looks like he's
question.
reading.
So what's going on there? What do you got for?
Oh, there it is. There it
Oh,
is.
boy.
Okay,
Dude, I
But
love that art. I love that cover.
for
Shadows of
those,
Asia
such
had
a
a
cool
great
cover.
cover.
I was gonna
So
say, for
cool.
those of us not in the Zoom call right now, he is holding up the front of the book for Shadows of Asia.
And I have the specific area too. Are you guys ready? Here, I'll pull this up. You guys can see this.
Southeast. Okay, that's
Yeah,
Oh,
let's go
okay.
Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Get some
The way
action.
you're curling that book over is making me want to fight.
Oh, I know. It's because you've got Indonesia, you've got Thailand, you've got the Philippines, and you have the broken up lower section of China. There's just so much going on. You have so much to do. The triads, you have them to deal with. You have a great dragon that you can run into. You've got Lung in the area fighting with Ryumio. So much going on. I would love to do a campaign set in there. I don't know what I would like focus it on right away, but
Yeah.
that's definitely where I would like to start one.
I mean,
What's nice is you've got options.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plenty of options.
You've also got the Sulpa rings that would be much
Oh,
more
yeah.
prominent in
Oh,
terms of the
yeah.
underground, which
Mhm.
honestly is not really like a faction that you see explored a lot. So I think that going that route over, standard Yak and Mafia would actually be a lot more interesting to see played out in a campaign setting. So
True.
Oh, yeah.
I have one more thing. This I'm sorry for our listeners because this is visual, but I'll describe everything for you as best I can. But Adam, since you had that moment about me curling the book, I want
Dude,
you
if
to know.
oof.
I want you to know beforehand. I'm prefacing this. I inherited this third edition book. Okay, I inherited it from one of my good friends who unfortunately is no longer with us, but I inherited his Shadowrun collection, and this is his core book that he has kept together.
It's gonna be made out of duct tape. It's made out of duct tape.
baby.
Not only is it
Oh,
duct tape,
wow.
you see that it's got
Oh
rivets
my god, is
in
that
it.
a rivet?
Yeah.
Riveted.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Dude,
Well
that third
loved.
edition core book is notorious for just falling
It
apart.
falls apart. Yeah, I was
Just,
like,
chunks of it just fall right the fuck out.
Well loved is not even an accurate descriptor to explain what that book looked like. If possible, we'll see if we can get Easy to post a picture in the Discord for you.
It's-
guys.
Oh, yeah, no,
It's got
will.
cyberware. It's got cyberware.
It's
Dude,
it is
it-
enhanced.
if this
It
doesn't
is
give you-
enhanced.
If this doesn't give you cyberpunk feel,
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
man.
Oh my god.
Look at that.
Love it. Oh, it's so good. My setting that I would pick for a campaign to take place in would be Tir na Nog, and it would be that nobody's allowed to play an elf. So as soon as you get there, you'd immediately be
Oh.
turned away, and the campaign would be over. So you could move on to the next one.
Yeah. All your prep is already done. You're,
Yep.
Yep.
Your 2 hours of character creation is more time than you're gonna have actually get to play this campaign. So enjoy what you're putting into it.
Amazing.
The whole thing would be like fucking National Lampoon's Vacation, where they go to Wally World. And it's
Yeah.
like, we're closed.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just do weekend at Bernie's, but weekend at Tir na Nog.
Oh man, I would watch that movie.
Having to try to not get caught carrying around a dead elf with you in the elfin capital of Europe. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
Let's
What could
do it.
possibly
Let's
go
do it.
As soon as
Dude,
you
April
immediately,
Fools. April
except
Fools
for when you
episode.
immediately come up on anybody who can detect magic, it just goes, wait a minute.
Oh, there's something about that guy.
All right. So next up, we have a question in regards to game running. For somebody here looking to get a little bit of advice. It says, "What pitfalls or red flags with players should a new GM forming a new group look out for?" Now, I would like to say that I think that we would be basing this off of the opinion that they are playing with a group of people that they probably don't know as well. So it's probably not a new like a group of friends just starting up a fun casual game. This is probably more of like a looking for group found player type of situation. So getting started with that, what do you think would be some really good getting into the nitty gritty with the group and making sure that you can watch out for things like they said, red flags or any type of pitfalls to avoid with those players. Karma, I'd like to throw it to you first, buddy, if you don't mind on this one.
Okay. I don't know. The issue is I've never played with anyone outside of my friend. Like, and then like SINless,
Well,
like SINless is the most it comes to strangers. But
for that,
Mhm.
based on your experience with running with your friends, what are things that you would take into, say, a new game of playing with people that you don't necessarily know? What
Yeah.
are things that you would do?
I mean, okay, and this isn't even Shadowrun specific, but like
No, I think that this
Hang on
is
with you.
just general gaming group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like no zones, like when it comes to role playing, you know, like there's, especially when it comes to Shadowrun, where it's like, you know, you do a lot of illegal activities. There's a few illegal activities you just don't really do for reasons. I feel like the second that even gets like joked about or hinted that, oh, my player might do this, they're out. That player kicked out of the group. Like, no, that's not
You're outta
happening.
here.
Get
No,
the hell
that's
out
fair.
of here.
That's fair. Yeah.
Or like the
Yeah.
second that like there's just, I don't know. I've had like there was a time that we had it was one of my old D&D groups. We had a female in our group, a rare occasion. And we invited one of the DM at the time invited a friend, one of his friends over to play, and like the dude was just super misogynistic the entire time.
When
And it was
he's just
super
that guy.
uncomfortable.
Oh,
But
jeez.
like it seemed like the DM didn't even notice it, but everyone else did, and it ruined the entire time. But that's another thing. Just basically anything that would make someone uncomfortable that isn't already preemptively talked about or agreed upon. I feel like that's a good red flag.
Yeah, no, that checks
yeah,
out, and it's
alright.
good. Yeah, the
Okay.
best thing you can do is make sure that people are having fun when
Mhm.
playing this
Yeah.
these
That
games
is the most
together.
important
So
thing.
that is important.
It is a
A-
game after all.
Yes.
Adam, what do you got for us?
Okay, so there's a thing. If you do a Google search or a Loogle search or whatever you got,
Mhm.
you look for RPG consent checklist, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fire that
Ooh.
off, hand it out to your people. And if you're doing this online, send a link to your people. If you get anybody that looks at it and they go like, I'm not filling this out, they're out. That's a person you don't want to deal with. That's a person that's going to be detrimental to your fun. But this is a great tool. It's got a bunch of things that people can say like, yeah, I'm on board for it, or I don't want to deal with it. Some people have weird stuff about eyeballs or teeth. Those are on there. There's stuff like harm to children, harm to animals. Like it's important to have an understanding of who you're going to be running the game for. And if you're doing this with new people that you don't have any kind of relationship with, you don't know them yet, this is a great way to get that started. So you can look at it and go like, okay, cool, let's not talk about severe weather. If somebody says, I hate severe weather, like, you got to respect them. I think it's silly. That's just my personal opinion. But, there's a lot of stuff on here that's real serious. And it's good to have a ground, a base level established before going into anything.
This is super cool, actually. I really do like this, and I think that it's a very very good, just like you said, getting it started, base level, making sure that everybody's comfortable with what you're getting into. That being said, I just have to point that I do think that it is very funny that the way that their marker system is, it's broken up into green, yellow, red. Green is, you're good with it.
Hell yes.
Yellow, red, don't do it. When you get down to social and cultural issues, I just want to see the one group where the guy that's like homophobia, red, hard line, do not include, not a fan, and then under that is racism, and they're like green, enthusiastic consent.
Please, yes.
Yes.
It's
like,
it's one thing. I could see a situation
yeah,
where somebody might be like,
Well,
let's explore racism.
to be fair, like Shadowrun is,
yeah, it's a
you
great
kind of can't not, like,
Yeah.
doing the podcast with Easy, one of our running commentaries every episode is how racist does it get, because like
Oh,
it's just
it does.
it's there.
Yeah.
But like I appreciate that they're also like willing to make that a thing, because it is like, it's not just the perfect fantasy world where everybody loves everybody and everybody
Yeah,
gets along in rainbows and harmony. Like there's some dirt, man. There's some
absolutely.
grittiness, and it's unfortunate, but it's part of our reality. So
Yeah.
but I just think that the wording of enthusiastic consent, bring it on, check
Yeah,
mark for my
uh,
racism
you know,
box, is
like
just
I can see, you know,
it's just funny.
with
I just think that
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
funny.
They
It's
but
could
yeah,
have
pretty
and with
used
crazy.
the
they could have maybe used a better
Comfortable,
wording. Yeah, wording
comfortable, you
convention.
know?
Yeah, instead of just
enthusiastic
being
Although I don't
like,
know,
consent.
comfortable with racism also isn't a good look. Like that's
well,
also
That's
not a
okay.
good thing to want to
So
put down on the
so
form.
hang on. When filling this form out, you have to
Mhm.
take into consideration that this is stuff that is going to come up in the game. They're topics that
Right.
you're
Yeah,
okay with talking about or
Yes.
experiencing in the game. Maybe you
Yes.
don't necessarily subscribe to them in your
No,
personal life,
100%. Yes.
but
sure,
I
sure,
get
yeah,
what you mean.
Yes.
Yes, it
yeah,
is
Yes.
still
I'm not
funny the
saying
way that it's worded.
yeah.
I'm not saying that if you enthusiastically consent to harm to animals that like somebody needs to go look in your backyard. Like I'm
Dude,
not.
that's a weird one.
Yeah, but like, but I yes, easy. It is in regards to being topics to be broached, not something that you
Yes.
yourself are like all on
But yeah,
board.
I mean,
Let's go.
yeah, I mean, there's that's one thing that's really cool about role playing games, stuff like Shadowrun or other games, is that you can explore these topics. And like personally, I know we're not supposed to get political. I think racism is stupid. That's my opinion. And
Whoa.
Hot
Whoa,
take.
what
yeah,
what a
yeah, I
hot
know. I'm
take,
sorry.
everybody.
Okay.
Hot
Hey.
take,
Whoa,
hot
buddy.
take, yeah, hot take. Racism's dumb, it could be, if presented in a tasteful way, it could be an interesting thing to explore in a game. And if that's something that the person running the game wants to explore, and somebody that's going to play is uncomfortable with it, then it's not for them. There's a game called Spire, which if you haven't heard about it, check it out. It's pretty fucking cool. The idea is that there's this giant city, vertical tower city, that's was completely inhabited by drow, and then these high elves came in and kind of took it over, and like now the drow are like second class citizens. So there's a pretty clear racial connotation to it, and you play as the drow, and you're trying to basically upset the establishment. And
Nice.
it's something that if you're a person that's got a background where racism has personally harmed your well-being, I could see that being something that's not cool to play.
Right.
And it's
Right.
important to establish that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's the end of my thing.
No, that's very
There.
cool. And I'll also pop the link for this into the Critical Hits Discord. So anybody that's in there, if you want to check it out, get it used. Like I said, it is a really cool tool. I know that we have been making some jokes, but all things said, it is actually super, super cool, and I think a really good way to establish baseline comfort, especially with a new group that you're not familiar with, and getting into it. Easy, what do you got for us? As
Ooh.
forever DM extraordinaire,
As
please, your
forever.
pearls of wisdom.
Jeez. It all comes down to you setting up the game. You know the type of game that you want to play, and so you really have to express that to your players that you're bringing in and have them understand, hey, this is the type of game that we're about to play. It's like what we just talked about with the checklist. It obviously would serve really well to go hand in hand with that, because then people know what they're getting into. You know what to look for. Just general player types that you could run into that can be problematic or red flags. There's always that guy, and everybody knows that guy. So eventually, if you haven't run into one, you will. They're out there in the role-playing community. You'll come across them eventually. Power gamers can be problematic sometimes. They're hit or miss, in my opinion. It all depends on really the setting that you're playing, because some settings and some games just don't allow power gaming. There doesn't matter. Then the other one that I've had trouble with in the past with players in some of my games is main character syndrome. That one gets that one gets tough. It can be a red flag because then it feels like somebody is taking all of the stage for the game and everybody else is being relegated to like NPC characters. So that all comes to talking with your players, having an idea ahead of time, having them write backstories for the characters they want to play can actually help you possibly identify some of these problems early on. You'll be able to pick the power gamers out real fast. There's my pearls of wisdom.
They're really, really solid ones. I have no comment because I have never run a tabletop game, so I am here.
Like?
Yeah. What's that like?
Casual. It's real casual. Let me tell you.
My commitment's about 3 hours a week.
Yeah, it's great. As soon as we clock out, I check out. I'm done until next session. It's a good time.
Nice.
Well, with that, actually, Easy, that is going to segue us very nicely into the next question we have here.
Hey, segues.
Segues are weird. Which
How's that work?
For running a game, what do you find to be the biggest challenges with running the game and making sure that everything kind of stays on rails during play? Easy's laughing a lot right now, and so we're gonna come back around to him because I think he's gonna need I think he might need a minute on that one. Karma,
Let him compose himself a little bit.
What do you got for us, buddy? What do you find to be the biggest challenge of running a game?
I think this is every DM's answer or GM's answer. The players. That's pretty much the biggest challenge.
Those guys.
9 out of 10 times.
Could you elaborate if you don't mind?
Yeah, gladly. I could elaborate for the rest of this episode if you want. Listen, I love my players, right? I'm my own podcast, Direct Storm. Love them. Love the people that I play with. They're all good friends of mine. Originally, the podcast was supposed to start off as a very super serious Black Trench podcast. If you listen to the first episode, it doesn't do that at all.
No.
But we went into it. I talked to him. I was like, I want this to be like super immersive and stuff. And it maybe lasts 5 minutes.
It's like the opening monologue. And then
pretty much. Yeah. But you know, I mean, that's fine. I adapted. But it's just every single. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, like I once had this run where I had to be like, right, because it's mainly a story that I'm trying to tell for people to listen to. I gave them this run and they were like, okay, well, that actually sounds pretty dangerous. We don't want to do it. I was like, guys, this is actually super important to the story. I need you guys to do this. So, but you know, I mean, hypothetically, if I would just be like, okay, well, never mind. Let me just get rid of all this prep, throw it in the trash over here. You guys don't have to, but like if it wasn't a podcast, I would have been like, all right, fine. Like then you guys miss out on this story. But it's like, well, it's actually really important. Or just like when they feel like killing people that aren't supposed to be killed. That happens a lot. I'm guilty of that probably, but you know, that's my answer. So the players, yeah, good luck coming up with new answers.
I'm ready for you. I'm ready to give you new answers.
Okay. All right.
Easy. You're chomping at the bit. What do you?
I am. I'm so excited. The easiest answer for here of like what the most challenging part is, right? That's what we're going for. Don't put your game on rails. Don't do it. Just don't, because you're going to be disappointed. It's awful. You want them to go from point A to point B, but they'll go from point A to point F to point G, back to point B, back to point A again. Like, there's no way as a GM, I don't care how good you are, there's no way you can anticipate everything that your players want to do or will do in your game. So if you put forth a very rigid plan, it's going to fall apart because players going to play.
Never account for everything.
You can't. It's not possible.
Yeah.
There's no way. I don't care how immersed you are in the system. I don't care how much you know its ins and outs and its rules and everything. You're gonna come across that one player that's gonna throw the wrench into your system, and you're never gonna see it. You think you've built this perfect, immaculate story. They're gonna march to the beat of your drum and go exactly where you want them to, and everything's gonna fall into place. It's gonna be amazing. Such great storytelling. 5 seconds in, it's going to fall apart. I guarantee you.
They go left. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it takes. That's literally all it takes. So yes, I do agree with Karma that players are tough. Players are tough, but I really think the other biggest thing that a lot of GMs get in their head, especially new GMs that are kind of starting out and haven't really got a whole bunch of experience under the belt yet, is rigidly adhering to a set storyline. You have to get out of that mindset right away if you're going to play a game. And it might not work out for you. It might be terrible, awful. You might be like, oh, this is crap. Maybe I'm terrible at this. We were all terrible at it to start. Okay. I'll be honest. I was a murder hobo of a GM. I used to just cackle with maniacal laughter. Oh, how am I plotting to kill my players today? And yeah, that's what it used to be. And I've come a real heck of a long way in storytelling. And you're only going to get there by doing it and trying and failing and finding out what works for you. So try it. Don't be afraid to fail. Be ready to fail and just, roll with the punches.
Checks out. Adam, got anything else you'd like to add in?
When it comes to writing your story, have an idea of where you want the story to go, and come up with a story, and then look at it and go, excuse me, what parts of the story are important, and refine it down to a couple of bullet points of what's important. Think about who your characters are that you're going to be running and what they would do if left on their own. So have an idea of where your NPCs would go if there was no intervention from the characters. That way, when the characters intervene, regardless of how they intervene, you kind of have an idea of what these people's goals are so that you can adapt to what's going on. So you absolutely, you have to be flexible. Don't write out like, okay, they're going to go in and they're going to fight this guy in this place. That's not going to happen. They're going to try to make friends with him. They're going to steal the dude's car and they're going to go to California. Like, you're going to end up somewhere completely different, but you have to be ready for, well, if they stole this guy's car and they go to California, how would this guy react? So it's more important to know the characters that they're going to interact with than the story that you're trying to tell. Also, a huge thing is when your player, like, totally circumvents your thing, you have, like, this great, like, oh, they're never going to figure out where this is, and they figure it out, put aside your ego. Say, shit, you got me. Let them have the victory. Give them some extra experience. Let them have fun. And then roll with it. Try to say yes more than you say no. Because if you keep saying no, nobody's going to have fun. It's important for everybody to have fun. And, adapting to the changes is, if it's not fun to you, you might not want to be a GM. So adapt to the changes, adapt to the challenges, roll with it, build the story with your players, and it's going to be more rewarding for everybody.
Solid. I like it. A good a good inclusion for making sure that you can make sure everybody's having a good time.
Man, it's like we've got some GMs in here or something.
It's crazy, right?
Who would have thought? It's like we've got catered questioning or something. This is wild.
What? On this show.
Now, getting back in regards to some Shadowrun topics here. Out of everybody's preference, which do you enjoy more, pink mohawk or black trench coat? And as a quick aside, while you guys think on that, for those who maybe are unfamiliar with the terminology, from what I understand, easy correct me if I'm wrong here. This'll show whether or not I've been learning anything on our lore educational podcast.
I'm really hoping right here. Make me a proud lore master.
The black trench coat would be more of like a corporate espionage style setting, whereas the pink mohawk is more street level gang based type of activities.
No.
Okay, all right.
Kind of not really.
Okay, cool. Guys,
So
almost 100 episodes, and I got nothing. Nothing. Sleepwalking my way through this show.
the terminology black trench coat and pink mohawk comes down to black trench coat is supposed to be the more gritty, like real noir. You're feeling immersed in the story, and everything has some kind of rule that's usually associated with it. A lot of people will say black trench coat can be a little more crunchy than pink mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
Pink mohawk is free spirited. We've got anime guns for days.
Gotcha.
we're surfing on the top of the car to
There you go.
hook it to the helicopter that is flying overhead. Basically, think anything out of Fast and Furious is pink mohawk.
There you go.
So
that is 100% correct.
So you mean like if a campaign were, say, to include some type of, I don't know, death race between motorcycles that involved a battle wagon of sorts, that could indeed be considered pink mohawk material?
So
Go either way.
what I'm gonna say
Depends on how you handle
is, what I'm gonna say is, it doesn't always have to be one or the other.
Right.
You can start out with black trench coat and pepper in some pink mohawk along the way. Like, you don't have to have it just one way or the other. Some
Right.
people like to mix their ice cream, and that's okay.
And they're monsters. No, that's fair. I actually, I would actually say that I do kind of think that that's how SINless ends up going. Is I think that it definitely tonally is more of a black trench coat overall, and then every now and again we like to sprinkle in a little pink mohawk, just to keep things
Gets a little
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta have fun, okay?
Hey.
And pink mohawk adds the fun. So
Fair. So between the two, if you were not allowed to mix your ice cream here, easy.
oh no!
Vanilla or chocolate? What are you going with?
It really would honestly depend on the group of players that I have. Because I could go either way, and I want it to be fun for them.
Well, that's the logical answer. That's not what we're looking for here.
I
That's a
know.
lazy answer.
Oh my god!
That's
Food on
that
my
bullshit.
this man.
Yeah, boo.
God, food on my own show. What is happening?
Hey, this is Wyrm Talk. This is my show. How dare you? We'll boo easy on
love it.
my show
All
every
right,
single episode if we have to.
Damn it!
Not letting it go.
I know. I gotcha. I gotcha.
All right.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go black trench coat. I love the gritty noir feel of the black and white and the detective that's, on the beat on the case trying to figure it out. I like that kind of setting. So I will plant my flag firmly in the, what is that? The chocolate side, I guess.
Yeah, we'll go with
Suppose.
that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Rather than the strawberry. It's
Rather than strawberry.
chocolate, right?
Strawberry chocolate. Yeah.
All right, Karma, what do you got for us?
I know my answer.
I have a feeling I know your answer.
I was prepared.
I myself, either GMing or playing, I love the idea of black trench coat. Just 100% black trench coat. Now, my players, clearly not black trench coat fans, but I tried to stylize everything in black trench coat, and then about 10 minutes into it, it goes pink mohawk. But I personally really like the idea of like super immersive, gritty, especially in the Shadowrun universe, like exploring the darker, like the horror topics and stuff like that, and just like the real corruption of it. I feel like, yeah, you can get it in pink mohawk, like yeah, you can kind of get a bit of the like evilness, but it's like I don't know. It doesn't have as much seriousness behind it. And when I'm like role playing and playing, tabletop RPGs, I like to be immersed in the world. And I feel like Pink Mohawk is not super immersive sometimes.
What, you don't want your bad guys to monologue to you?
Not immersive in the same way. And
yeah.
knowing Karma's roleplay style, I feel like it would be a lot harder to find the scene to cry during a pink mohawk than it is during a black trench coat. So I get that.
Is that a challenge?
I get that. I mean, look, hey, I said hard. I didn't say you couldn't do it. Okay? I just said it'd be a little bit more difficult. Adam, what do you got for us? What's your flavor?
Oh, the pinkest of mohawks. The mohawkiest, pinkest.
The
like,
Pepto Mohawk.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. It's gotta be the mohawk's gotta be long enough that you can't reach it with your own hand. You need somebody to help you play that. If you asked me this question, I don't know, 3 years ago, I would have said trench coat, 100%. I like the dark, the what's the word I'm looking for? Dystopian. That's the word I'm looking for. The dystopian kind of like grittiness of it. But I feel like the bombastic action is where the fun and the joy lives. So I like to have, if you guys listen to Pay Data, people driving around in a mall and like releasing a bunch of gorillas and shit. And that's fun and exciting. And that can also still be crushingly dark and depressing and oppressing and dystopian, while still being fun and action-packed. It's a weird balance, and that's where I like to live, is in that weird, like, razor's edge of, like, is this too dark? Good. That makes it funny.
Fair? No, that's very good.
You gotta love dark humor every once in a while.
You gotta run over an old lady on an escalator with a motorcycle. It's funny. But
she was in the way.
Really,
you just gotta,
shit happens.
That'll teach her to have a walker.
Look, sometimes you gotta have a troll in full body armor with you carrying a riot shield, and you're like, what if I jumped on the riot shield and you just flung me at an enemy so I can swing my katana at them at full velocity while doing like a cool 360 aerial spin? And what if that target happens to be a bug spirit that you're also doing it to at the same time? Like, these are all hypothetical scenarios.
This never happened in the show. I don't know what you're talking about.
This has never happened in a game of Shadowrun before, but if it were to, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to get that zaniness. I think
the mascot costume. Let's go.
I think that from my limited, I will say, interaction with Shadowrun in comparison to the rest of our panel, I personally have a lenience towards Pink Mohawk only because I enjoy how much you can get away with in Shadowrun and it still mechanically checks out. Like, the amount of times that I'll be like, all right, easy, this is gonna sound dumb, but just let me know if I can do it, and the answer has always been yes. And that's what I really like about it. I do think that, like, the overall tone and setting, like I said, with SINless, we do tend to err on the side of black trenchcoat for the overarching type of feel, but when you do get the Pink Mohawk moments, those are, for me, is always the thing that tends to stand out the most, such as the aforementioned bug spirit encounter and death race on motorcycle.
Yeah, jumping out of a helicopter. Like, that's what I want. I don't...
Yeah.
That's me.
Yep. No, I agree. I'm with you on Team Vanilla or Strawberry.
No, Team Strawberry.
Strawberry. Sorry, thank you.
Strawberry. No vanilla allowed.
No, there is no vanilla in role-playing. There's chocolate and strawberry.
It's fair. There's no vanilla in Shadowrun either. There is no vanilla Shadowrun. You are all in. So we have a bit of a question that I think is maybe going to be targeted specifically at Karma here. So
boy,
this here.
Me
targeted questions.
Oh boy.
So
What's your favorite Taco Bell sauce?
People who are not in the Zoom call are
are
very
going to be very confused about that. The answer is Jack in the Box Taco Bell sauce. That is his favorite Taco Bell taco sauce. No, so we have a question in regards to 5e rule sets here.
Oh, yes.
And
I
so-
actually
boy.
did research specifically on this question, so I
Good.
can come prepared.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
wow.
pretending like you've never seen it before, the question
Okay.
is 5e rigger question. Do riggers still need to buy software, and what are some recommendations?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume software is specifically tied to, because typically I'm assuming it's specifically talking about programs for decks, because that's typically like that's what it's categorized in 5e, and the answer is no. So that's it.
Okay.
They're specifically for hacking and stuff. None of the programs really help with rigging.
Autosofts for your drones. So that you can.
Does that count? I guess.
Oh, we could have a
Alright,
5e
that counts.
fight.
Okay.
5e fight.
I forgot about autosofts. Okay,
Well, these
listen,
are-
I've
Those
never
are the
had
worst
to-
karate chops
I
I've ever
know.
seen.
never-
Well, my screen is so close, I can only karate chop so much before I'm like smacking it. So
I did. Yeah, I guess autosofts would be software. Yeah,
I don't know if that counts. If that
I
counts,
don't know if they do.
That's-
Okay, but
that's
if they
fine.
do, autosofts are definitely the correct answer to that.
For those of us
Uh,
who may not be in the know, what are autosofts? Like, how do they work in relation to a rigger?
God, I'm trying to think of how to see. The issue is I've never made I've done very minor research because I don't have any rigger players.
also
Sure.
I have to throw this out here too. Hopefully the algorithm does not pick up on the
Yeah.
naming convention. Can we please
Oh,
try and say
right.
drone operator from
Drone
this point on?
operators.
Yes.
Because we may have some problem with the other
Rigger.
word.
You know what? We'll just go ahead
Yeah.
and call them operators. Adam,
That's
do you have
fine.
any insight on operators for us?
Yeah, I mean, like the autosofts are going to be basically like essentially skills that your drones have when they're on remote.
Mhm.
So it's going to be your drone's ability to target things or find things. That's basically the only software I can think of that you'll need as a rigger.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might want to look out for. Most of it's hardware. You know, you're looking at stuff for like dealing with ECM or ECCM or ECCCM or ECCCCM, and you know, your RCC and VCR and BLTs.
Gotcha. All the acronyms. You know, we're big fans of acronyms around here as well, so that's something that I can get behind. Do you have in your guys'
What the hell
group?
does any of that mean?
Yeah, exactly. There are people here listening to this. They're gonna be like, "What the hell was that spew of words and letters?
Wait,
I don't
bunch of letters.
understand."
Wait, was the VCR autosoft in some kind of supplement that I didn't pick up? Hang on, I didn't get
Just-
that one. What is
wait,
it?
Vehicle control rig. Come on.
Oh, I see. I got
So I don't have to put it in and rewind it before I take it back to Blockbuster.
Yeah,
No,
you
but
gotta
see
be
the-
kind. Rewind.
But
Be
see, the
kind,
problem
rewind.
with the vehicle control rig is that it is inferior when you're looking in the face of some type of, say, battalion entanglement tactical assault unit, or beta, as it were. Because as we know, that is the superior format over
Is this some kind
the
of giant
VCR.
robotic spider thing with a cannon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did want to ask, backing off of this as well. What are your guys' group's relation with operators? Because Easy is not a fan. As a matter of fact, I very distinctly remember that being when we first started SINless. His one rule was you are not allowed to play an operator.
No,
no.
It wasn't operator. It was no deckers.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
sorry, it was
deckers.
no decker. Okay, sorry.
No
sorry, it was
deckers.
No deckers. Okay.
Because of the notorious
The pizza time.
Split.
pizza time effect of
Yeah.
3E. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not just 3E. That's been
It's
an
been the
issue.
problem. Yeah, it's been a problem in Shadowrun.
I
for
heard it was a
while.
lot better in
Yeah.
6E. I heard 6E they made it. They like cut it down quite a bit, but I don't know. I've never done 6E.
I've heard that as well. I am like, don't tell. There's a lot of people like if you're listening to like pretend I didn't say this. Don't tell anyone. I don't know how 6E works. I need to really read up on it. Like,
I
it's
don't
really
think that's an
important,
unpopular. You know what's funny part
That's-
is I
that's
have
not-
the 6E rule book right over there because in
I've
the
got two.
first it was
That-
yeah Why do you have 2?
Because I got the new one. I got the.
Oh,
You
the
have, to, you have to get the Emerald
I
City
made the
one.
mistake.
Yeah.
I've got
Oh, I thought-
Emerald City is a source book for just information on Seattle. I got the Seattle edition of it recently.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I got the Kevlar bound like limited edition when it came out at Gen Con.
Oh.
That's broken and it's missing a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
That's rough.
and like every time I'm like, yeah, I got the Kevlar one. And everybody's like, ooh, sorry. And I'm
Ooh,
like,
ooh.
but
But it
yeah, I
looks
got.
cool.
Well, I mean, like, I need to read up on this edition because I'm writing some stuff that I need to know how the fucking rules work.
Yeah. I also need to read rules on it. I am reading the lore of it, so at least I'm keeping
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
I'm up.
important.
Yeah,
That's really
easy
important,
for
you know.
me. I
Yeah,
just
that's
gotta learn
easy
the
to
rules.
do. Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so Deckers, right? I personally am have been not a huge fan of anything with that, just because it so heavily removes that person from everything else, or removes everyone else from the action when that person's taking their time.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I can say that I really like is in Shadowrun Anarchy. It's so streamlined that you can run with a Decker and it just keeps moving. You know, it's very quick. It's like, you want to get in there? Okay, cool. Give me a test. Rad. Here we go. That's it.
Yep. It's one of the reasons I liked Anarchy when I tried it, and why we'll be transitioning to Anarchy into the next season.
Whoa,
Yeah, buddy.
spoilers!
Whoa!
Hey!
Oh my gosh!
Heard
You
it
didn't
here
You didn't even wait
first.
until we were in the patron only section to
No.
drop that one.
Hey,
Jeez,
you gotta
dude.
give
Sorry.
people little bits of tidbits here to keep them coming back, okay? And
That's
then
fair. That's fair.
little
Dropping the
something,
morsels.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Tender Vittles.
Speaking of, we have one more question here that we're going to get to before going over to the patron only section of our podcast that we do here for Wyrm Talk. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the remaining fantastic and enjoyable content that we will have for you, got to make sure that you're following and supporting to help keep the lights on.
Could even be spicy content. We don't even know yet.
Oh, it's gonna
we
get
will
weird.
see.
It's gonna get
We
weird.
We switch over to Shadowrunnin After Dark
After
as soon
Dark.
as the Patreon section starts.
After dark.
So I do actually have a question that is lore related. I know, keeping it a little on brand here in regards to this here show that we're doing. Which is, what is the cause of the corruption in Germany around SNK? Is it just the nasty stuff they do, or does it go deeper than that? And I assume SNK, they mean Satyr-Krupp?
That's Seder Krupp, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So what's up with Germany? Easy.
Interesting.
All of Germany, just summarized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, in that case, I reference you to the lore podcast that already came out, which is Germany Part 1, which we've done, which builds up the whole Germany before the crash and before it separates and becomes a bunch of different states and everything. And we're going to do a Part 2. It's coming, where we'll actually get more into the nitty-gritty of what it's like to live in certain areas and things like that. That's what we've normally been doing with our location lore podcast. As for why things are so bad around the SNK arcology, it could be some of the things that they're experimenting with inside that particular arcology, which maybe we'll be discussing in our Part 2 Germany lore podcast. Woo!
It got spooky at the end.
Well, yeah, we're dealing with Lofweir. He gets a little spooky sometimes. Sometimes.
Only sometimes. I mean,
Only after dark.
Only after dark.
and with that, I mean, Carbo or Adam, do either of you guys have anything else to add on to Germany?
Dude, I got no
Any-
fucking idea what's going on in Germany, man.
I
I don't. I don't.
Fair?
Yep.
Sick.
This
I don't-
podcast
I
is
don't
how
know
I
much.
consume my lore, and I missed the Germany part 1 episode, so
What-
I don't know.
Was that entire question just designed for us to have a conveniently placed ad read for our own show right before the patron break?
Wow.
Who knows? Find out after this if you're a patron.
Hey, Chummers, just taking a quick moment to say if you are enjoying what you hear, consider coming over to our Discord, where you can hang out with us and other like minded Shadowrun enthusiasts. The link is in the description. While you're at it, check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/critical_hits. You get early access to episodes of SINless. You get to vote on upcoming art that you want to see in the shows, and you also get full access to Wyrm Talks, just to name a few things. It's only $5, and that gets you in and helps us keep the lights on and making the content that you enjoy.